Hey everyone, this is Doug C. Brown with the CEO Sales Strategies Podcast. I got an amazing guest. His name is Mr. Christian O'Meara. The company is Logic 2020. They can be found at logic2020.com. We're going to talk a lot about winning attitude, AI. You're going to love this episode. Get a some type of thing out to take notes here. I believe you will have pages of notes before we're done. Those of you who are looking to increase your revenue in your company, if you're an independent business professional, you're a company with a sales team and you want that sales team to grow, you want that independent business of yours to grow, reach out to us. And if you're having challenges on and around follow-up, we have our SaaS platform that we're just released. Reach out to us on that too. You can send an email directly into YouMatter, YOUMATTER, at ceosalesstrategies.com and just put in the subject line what you're looking for. We'll have a conversation, see how we can help you out. Again, that's YouMatter, YOUMATTER, because you do matter to us. All right, let's go talk to Christian. Get your pen, get your paper, write it down. You're going to get some really good stuff here. Here we go. Hey, Christian, welcome to the CEO Sales Strategies Podcast. Thanks so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
And you're coming all the way from sunny Seattle, right? That's
sunny Seattle, Washington. Beautiful day.
And you've got why don't we set the frame for this? Let's tell people what you do, and then I have one question after that.
Sure. We are a business and technology consulting company, and I'm the CEO and founder. And we aim to help our clients navigate and understand that intersection of business and technology between advanced analytics. In today's world, we're talking very much about Gen AI, AI agents, agentic AI, agentic frameworks, helping our clients navigate what's next, their journey, and then helping them actually implement a solution and a program that sets them up for success with all the technology that's available to them.
Yeah, and there's a ton of technology just coming out and growing right now. I mean, a lot of people are a little overwhelmed, I would say, right?
It is overwhelming. There is so much available and so much to navigate. And our job is to simplify that and distill that so that our clients, whether they be in the utilities industry, in the financial services business, high tech even still, need to understand a simplified version of all the technology stacks work for them, and that's where we help them.
Awesome. So you take the complexity and the fear out of that process and give them what they need and help them move forward. And the reason I use the word fear, a lot of people are fearful of AI today.
Fearful of the unknown, absolutely, and with good reason.
Yeah, and folks, it's not going to be Terminator and the bots taking over as some people say.
Well, let's hope not. Let's hope not. That wouldn't be a good outcome for any of us.
I say this because I just spent a couple of weeks traveling, Christian, and a lot of this was on AI, right? It was like conversations on AI. We're helping companies here navigate, sales team members, independent business professionals, people who are selling, navigate some of these waters with, sales methodology and using AI as well. And what I found is in everything, people are fearful, but then it all kinds of goes into mindset on this whole process too, right? And this is what I was so happy to bring you on, because you're really cool and got it down on the winning attitude, right? So it's like what it takes to be a top performer in selling, but even using technology, et cetera, et cetera. We must embrace a top performer's attitude on this thing, because
growth mindset. You can't have a fixed mindset here. Carol Dweck wrote all about fixed mindset and growth mindset for kids, and that has followed all the way through to the business that we're in today. If you've got a fixed mindset, you're going to struggle. If you're fighting against AI or fearful and therefore kind of got your head under the covers, that's a bad outcome for you. If you've got a positive, open mindset, where is this going to help me in all walks of our life, sales in particular? I mean, if you salespeople are, essentially, I find generally very positive people.
Right.
I think this is amazing for salespeople. You have to have an open mindset in how you're going to use it. But there's no AI agent taking your sales job if you're a sales professional and you think with a growth mindset.
Well, and I think you've hit it right on the head of the nail. If you're a sales professional,
Yeah, that's
if
true.
if you're a sales hack, and you're relying on things like setters and you're relying on routine things that can happen, there are AI technologies who are going to eat into that process.
That is for sure. But I would actually say even if you're if you're a hack, there are ways to hack this. But in my experience, your sales professional is always going to outsmart, outwork, and outgrow your sales hack.
Without question. I agree
So,
100% on that.
yeah,
So well, let me put it this way. If your sales lazy and
sure.
but it's not good sales lazy, it's bad sales lazy.
Yeah, you're getting left behind.
Yeah. And folks, this is not coming. It's here already.
This is here and now.
Yeah. But AI also allow us to do these amazing things for productivity, efficiency, and effectiveness if we just embrace some of the methodologies and the tools. Would you agree with this or
I think the simplest thing, you're on a Zoom call or WebEx, a Teams call, whatever your chosen path. You're on Teams and you want the note subscriber. Well, as a dyslexic with ADHD, I am terrible at taking notes. I'm the worst in the world. And you literally, it's a simple question to your client. You're on Teams. You're like, hey, do you mind if I use dictation? They say, yeah, great. And at the end of the meeting, you click a button and it gives you what were the pertinent notes. And literally, you're reading those pertinent notes and thinking, I really couldn't have done a better job if I'd sat back and listened to this over and over and taken notes. The AI bot did it in seconds.
Yeah.
What I would take 20 minutes, 30 minutes to do. Meanwhile, I'll have made 2 more calls.
Yep. And then we could have an AI bot or an agent, right? We can run an agent type process on what we want to distill out of that particular call. And
Absolutely.
um,
Absolutely.
and all of these things used to take literally minutes or half an hour, an hour,
Yeah.
or more.
You can
Now within
move
seconds.
rapidly. Yeah.
And that's the thing that I want people to catch around this, because if they don't have the winning attitude on this and their competition does, they're going to get it. I mean, it's just,
Game changing.
yeah,
It is game changing.
yeah. And it's getting better and better and better. And, even like client research and things of that nature. I mean, she's even with like now, Gemini has deep research, ChatGPT has deep research. And this thing will think and reason. And if we put the right prompts into it, it actually comes back with things we've never ever going to think about as a human being in many cases.
Absolutely. And it comes back in a complex fashion sometimes. And now you just say, I need that more simple. And it comes back with a much more simple to understand answer. And it's here and it's now and it should be being used every day.
Yeah. We weren't going to turn this into an AI call, folks, originally, but
Sure.
it's so important. The attitude around this is got to be similar to the attitude of elite performers. It's something that has to happen or you'll get left
I
behind.
agree. But I don't think there's much different in the way we think about with a growth mindset today as we've had 25 years ago, 30 years ago when I was starting out. There were, the peaks and valleys of sales, right? We've all experienced peaks and valleys, and your growth mindset always has to be, you're in a funk, you're at the bottom of the valley, but you have to put a smile on it, get up every day, shave, put your cufflinks on, whatever the thing is that you do, and you show up again. And as you learn more, your attitude, your growth mindset grows even more, and you embrace whatever it is in front of you. AI is no different. It's not really that complicated
Right.
for us as users. I'm not sitting in the back coding, just to be clear. I'm not quite that skill set, but
I took one of those courses actually, and I was
oh,
like, oh
very
my
good.
goodness, like, because I
Yeah,
wanted to, I'm the type of guy who's curious like that. And I'm like, I'll just go, get an engineering look at this, right? And I'm
yeah,
like, oh my goodness. So I like being on the consumer side of this process.
yeah,
And I love what you said about the ups, downs, peaks, valleys, peaks, valleys. And when you're in the valley, that's the time to dig in. But
right.
what I find is most people, because of childhood upbringing or childhood wounds or whatever we want to attribute it to, usually this starts kind of in childhood or somewhere in life, and something kind of knocks them down, or they're in a position where they're angry from whatever happened. And when they get down into that valley, down on the bottom, they don't really get up again. It's not like that song, I get knocked down and I get up again. Everybody loves that song for that reason. It's like Rocky, right? You're going to knock him down,
Great.
he's going to get back up. So you had I would say, a varied childhood.
I did.
uh, you lived in, if I remember correctly, multiple countries.
That's
You
right.
you went to like six or so schools, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Didn't you get thrown out of a school or two too? I mean,
You
expelled?
know, I think that's a true statement. Yeah, I grew up an army brat, so living in Germany, a couple of postings in Germany, a couple of years each. And back in the UK for a couple of years. Moved to Holland. I went to a French school, a French immersion school, and I went to a British boarding school, and there was never really a continuity. I mentioned earlier that now in today's world, I'm diagnosed as a dyslexic with ADHD. Back then, there was no such thing, so you were just at the bottom of the class. So you had to figure out a way to make it through, survive. And otherwise, you got churned up in the system and crushed. And I think it's fair to say you learn to have a thicker skin. You learn to put a positive face on it. Humiliation is only an emotion, kind of approach to it. You get up every day, and there's no choice. You're going to school. Yes, I did eventually manage to put my brain to things that were incredibly devious, and I was uninvited to a couple of schools in there at different times. Um, but that added to the journey, that added to the resilience. I didn't graduate with my bachelor's until I was 27 years old, and that was quite the relief.
So I love this because we have similar journeys in some regards. And like I have brothers, one in particular, he got expelled, I think 3 times out of school. Uh, One of them he threw, he'll probably want to beat me up on this one, but he took what we call a cherry bomb, which is like this little block of dynamite, and threw it off the balcony in the library one day to see what the reaction would be from people.
Got a reaction, I'm guessing.
It got a reaction, all right.
Yeah, that's good.
So, but
Unless you're my kids watching, in which case it's not good.
oh, it's
Terrible.
bad,
Terrible.
bad.
You
Don't.
know, I got two boys, two girls, all have similar kind of challenges, and yeah, not good kids. Don't do that.
And and I had my moments. I didn't throw dynamite, but I had my moments as well. And I was also that kid who's always multi-focused all over the place.
Right.
Um, and
Multi-focused. I'm gonna write that one down, Doug.
yeah, multi-focused.
I'm multi-focused.
Feel free to
Brilliant.
use it. See, the thing is with having that type of multi-focus discipline,
Yeah,
it makes it really good for guys like you and I to be able to spot problems, spot
really
challenges,
does.
spot opportunities, because we'll see what others can't see. Because we're just used to it.
That
It's
is true. Yeah.
it's like Jason Bourne going into a restaurant. He's going to look at 21 different variables about how he gets out of the restaurant safely if the bad guys come in, right?
So
We
what I'm hearing is I'm multi-focused and like Jason Bourne. Doug, we should hang out a lot more.
Well, I think you're coming to Boston soon, so just let me know when you're going around. The there's something super powerful in what you said. I want to go back to it. You said that something like humiliation is just an emotion, and I wrote down it's the meaning we give to humiliation which determines the outcome. And I think this is so important for people to understand that emotion has to have a meaning to it in order for it to mean something. So if we're up on the peak, and we have the emotion like, woohoo, that's great. We're giving a meaning to that. If we're down in the valley, we can also give that same woohoo meaning to being down in the valley, or we can give the, oh my goodness, this is just going to take my knees out from underneath me and my legs are, I'm going to hit the ground and my face is going to get hurt, right? We can give that meaning. I wanted to get your feedback on that. Do you agree, disagree with that particular statement?
I think yes and no, I agree with it. You give it meaning. I think you also have to understand, or I understand the process. And I think giving meaning and understanding what the process is to get back to that higher emotion, and that it is a process. There's no magic in getting back to a higher emotion. You have to, in sales, you have to work your way out of it. And each time you're in the valley, I'm in the valley, and now I've got to find my way out. It's it's metrics, it's calls, it's approach, it's put a smile on it. It's just go through whatever your process is to find your way out. Go through your sales methodology and your own methodology.
So what I'm hearing is the speed in which we recover determines the better outcome in most cases, like when we're in that valley.
That's my experience, yeah.
So then it is possible for us to develop habits, discipline, and routines around that process to pull ourselves out faster.
Absolutely. This is, I mean, we talk about, the difference between a sales professional and a sales hack.
Right.
A sales professional understands there is discipline, there is process, there is methodology. This is a science as well as, a science performed by artists. It is absolutely a rhythm and a process. A hack is going to make a lucky call, land a deal, and maybe they don't get one again, or maybe they get another one sometime later. But the more successful person in sales is a sales professional that follows a methodology.
So I like to challenge everybody out there just for a day. Like try to play this game with yourself, because Christian, I do these ridiculous things, right? Imagine that you can't give yourself permission to actually have a negative emotion in a day. And you keep practicing that again. Oh, this is really difficult, I will tell people, because you're going to go do that, get out on the highway and somebody's going to throw you the finger or, cut you off or whatever. But imagine that you have to frame that in a positive way. Every single time something negative comes into your brain, you got to dismiss it and say, nope, it doesn't exist anymore. If we could live in that state and we had the routines, discipline, and the habits built around that, there'd be far less challenges. People wouldn't be afraid of most things that they're afraid of. And I'm not saying fear is not logical, right? I mean, we're, I don't know. We fall off a building. We better be looking at how to land safely in some capacity, and we should be fearful. But in most cases, I've never heard of a buyer ever throwing someone out a tall building window because they said no to them on the sale, or they didn't like how the presentation went, or there was no real danger there. But I've seen people just come apart when they don't close a particular sale versus saying, okay, why don't I ask this person why I didn't get the sale and learn from this? And I think going back to your AI, specifically what you do, I think people must be asking, how do I use this? how do I have a guy like Christian come in and help me and his company help me understand and take action on this, because it's like oxygen right now. It's not a consideration anymore, right? You can still buy an electric vehicle, a hybrid, or a gasoline vehicle. That's still out
Have
there.
options. Yeah.
AI taking part of market share and AI, enhancing our society. It's not an option anymore. And Christian, I don't know. I remember when the internet was dial up, right?
Yeah.
And I remember when it came out and people were like, "Oh, this is so cool, I can download a picture in 5 minutes," right? And right, um, you know, if we had to download a picture in 5 minutes today, people would be losing their mind, right?
Right.
Over it. But I remember going to people in the late 80s and say, wow, because DSL came in, right? It was now no longer, we had a little bit of dial up and a little bit of high speed, and or it was 128 megabytes, and it
Hmm.
was like fast compared to dial up. And I said to people, I said, this is going to change sales forever. And people told me I was crazy. Well, I just was multi-focused, I think.
Right.
So I kind of like, now if you look today, the internet has changed sales, that the information that comes from the buyer now knows more sometimes than the seller actually knows about their own product or service, because they've been researching it or had a department research it.
Yeah.
So do you see AI being very similar, like, because there were people that were like, well, I'm not climbing on this high speed thing. I won't, this email thing will never replace those paper envelopes, right? Do you see people like the same way? Like, you're in this every single day. I'm just kind of looking at it from a outside sales perspective.
Yeah. I mean, look, we're already using AI. Anyone that's in our world, anyone that's listening to this podcast, is already at a guess using AI at some level. Whether they're asking their Alexa or Siri a question in the day, whether they're asking Alexa to play music or dictating a text message to somebody while they're driving the car, they're using AI. They're already doing it.
Yeah.
So we're just talking about a matter of steps. What are the steps in the process to, as you said, going back 20 years, did it transform sales? It transformed everything. I mean, an AI is absolutely transforming everything, and sales is just one of those things.
Yes.
If you don't embrace it, you're not going to be in sales for much longer, right? It's pretty simple.
I think that's well said. We're going to name that the title of this. If you don't embrace it, you won't be in sales, and I think well, I know it's not just sales, right? I mean, there are programs out there now. I mean, you can make a website and, 13 to 15 seconds if you put some information in, right? So,
Sure.
there's lots of things that are coming with this new generation of AI that just was released not too long ago, that are that are light years beyond what the original release was. And I think that's the thing that people, not to fear, folks, but to understand that this is happening faster than the internet did.
It is indeed. What we're talking about, where we're talking about AI agents, we're literally talking about a framework of where AI agents speak to other AI agents. And then what does the framework, which isn't established today, if you're talking about an agentic framework, what that looks like, we will be headed to an agentic framework, but I don't know of a company today that has that in place. How do you ready yourself for that next year, 2 years from now, 3 years from now? And so you need to first of all understand it is happening, and how do you get on the journey?
Well said from a multi-focus Jason Bourne.
That's right. Who's positioning agentic frameworks in my future? So yes,
who, who,
self-serving. I grant you.
who grew up as an army brat, tossed out of schools, and now runs a 200-person company,
Right.
in Seattle, Washington. Um, Is there anything that you'd like to leave with people, like, other than what we've talked about? Is there something that, like, if this is something that not only you must embrace in AI, but in the winning attitude, is there something else that I'm trying to figure out how to ask the question, so I'm just going to ask it this way. Is there any like really important thing that you're like, Jesus, Doug, we should have covered that we didn't?
Doug, I think you and I could chat for like 3 hours, and that would we'd eventually get through it all. Look, I think in this journey, whether it's in sales, whether it's if we're talking about CEO sales strategies,
Right.
and for me, on our strategy and the way we put this entire team together, just to maybe a couple more than 200 people, and now and a national company serving all kinds of organizations in the industries I mentioned. Whether we're selling into and delivering solutions in power and utilities, or whether we're doing it in healthcare and life science, or financial services, it would be easy to just pick someone because they had knowledge in that industry. And I don't think it's about that. I think it's about mindset. A's play with A's, B's play with C's. And I think I got that from Zig Ziglar in around 1997, and when we had those, the book of cassette tapes.
Yep.
And I would listen to those on the way to work. And they're really true words. A's play with A's, B's play with C's. And if you're looking to put together a team, maintain a team, it's about making sure you've put the culture together. You've got a wide variety of people in your culture. You've intentionally picked a diverse set of skills, but all with a positive mindset. As a rugby player, and someone who's both played and coached for many years now, rugby players require one of everybody on the field: tall, small, wide, skinny, fast, slow, strong, zippy. And if you don't have all of those skills meshed into your team, you're not going to be a great team. And I think the same in sales. I think the same in consulting delivery. You get an enormous wealth of knowledge by pulling from everybody and making sure that you've got an A mindset. And if you've got anybody that is not focused on the outcome of the company, that they can have an A mindset, that they're focused in the right way. You've got culture. Culture is massive. Without culture, we wouldn't have an organization. And so we focus massively on culture. So a mindset, growth mindset, culture mindset.
That's probably more important than anything we've talked about on this call, actually.
AI is pretty important, but no, I think it is. I think it is.
No, I agree, because a positive winning attitude, right? I mean, this has been said through, I don't know, time, right? I mean, it's come up through
first people.
Ancient scrolls have this stuff in it, right?
Yeah.
And us able to build a culture of those type of people, I mean, my gosh, it's unstoppable. And I kind of liken it to, I don't know if you saw the Super Bowl last Sunday, but I liken it to what the Philadelphia Eagles, I mean, they just were unstoppable in that process, right?
You've just invited me to talk on a subject I've got really no business talking about. But I was drawn to watching the Tom Brady's attitude in 2018, when the Patriots came out and they were 27-3 down, and it was halftime, and Tom Brady's winning mindset, like, let's go, the attitude, the positive attitude of getting his team going again and again and again. And I don't think we saw that leadership at halftime from the Chiefs. You saw people walking from the field, shaking their heads, kind of looking a bit sulky and a bit down in the mouth. That leadership on the back foot is when your leaders really stand out. If you can step up and you can raise the level, raise the bar, bring your team that's on the back foot and bring them forward to win. I think that's incredibly valuable. And whether it's playing football in this business of technology consulting, over a lifetime, we are always going to find ourselves on the back foot or in the valley. How do you stand up and lead? And you can't lead by yourself. You know, we've got 250 people here. I've got 250 leaders. They come with a mindset. I couldn't lead those people by myself. I am a point of focus for 250 leaders to step up. And we've all experienced the downturns. So I would say that's why it's so important. Culture is so important. And we hire athletes as a matter of course, not only athletes, but we hire a lot of athletes who know how to lose, and turn up the next week with a winning mindset and go and win. Because life is life, and we're not winning 100% of the time. It's how you respond in those losing moments.
Leadership on the back foot. I just wrote that one down. So thank you, Christian. I really appreciate it. And I really appreciate you being here on the CEO Sales Strategies podcast, bringing a winning positive mindset and a winning positive attitude. I know a lot of people, I suspect there's some people that are just like smiling, and I suspect people listening to this, some have a tear or two that are coming down off their face, like, okay, I got to get it together. And that's what we do this for. So I appreciate you being here, and I'm very, very grateful. So thank you.
Yep. Doug, thanks very much for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right. Leadership on the back foot. I love that. Right. It's when you're down. It's not when you're up. You know, when you're up, it's easy. When you're down, how quickly can you recover? What are your routines, disciplines, and habits around that? And how's your leadership on the back foot? I absolutely appreciate what Christian was saying regarding, you know, you've got to have a positive winning attitude, and we build a culture around that positive winning attitude. You know, we've all been in places where that culture is not that, and you can feel it, right? Or, you know, everybody's not in the spirit of the same ranks, you know, what's that, Sun Tzu, I believe, right? And you can feel that, you know, like one person's out of sync or 5 people are out of sync in the organization, and you're like, well, why are they here, right? You're feeling that, right? So the question is, do you feel that on your own, right? Like you have days, of course. One of the things that he mentioned is A players hang with A players. So if you're going to be an A player, hang out with other A players. And then when you're down, those A players will pick you up. And because we all need someone in our life to do that for us. All right. Until next time, go out and sell something. Go out and sell a lot of it. Don't discount when you don't have to. Remember, you got to make up when you discount. And it's a lot larger amounts of sales that you probably don't realize. But you run the metrics, you will absolutely know. And again, speaking of metrics, if you want to grow your revenues, you want to predictably grow them, we have a math-based, metrics-based process for doing this. Or if you're around follow-up and you're dropping the ball around follow-up and you're losing sales and relationships, so you're not gaining those sales and relationships, and you're not staying top of mind with people for in perpetuity, reach out to us at YouMatter, YOUMATTER, at CEO Sales Strategies, and let us know, and we'll see what we can do to help you out. All right. Go out and sell something, sell a lot of it, play win-win-win, make someone happy, make yourself happy, and make someone else in the process happy. All right. This is Doug C. Brown. Until next time, with the CEO Sales Strategies podcast, saying to your success.